What do you think of, when
That's
we're taking a look at 2001 here? This is a very young Chris Jericho. Of course, he jumped ship back in '99, right before the big Y2K scare. And at the very end of 2001, later in this year, is the night where he's going to beat Stone Cold and The Rock on the same night and kind of become the guy. He'll headline WrestleMania next year against Triple H, but it'll kind of be an afterthought because everybody's so focused on what they just saw with Hogan and Rock. I don't think anybody could have predicted that. But when you took a look, I mean, you had a WWF experience, you left, have a WCW experience, you come back, have a less than awesome WWF experience, but you're at least seeing guys like when the Radicals jumped or the year prior when Jericho jumped. Were you trying to monitor how WCW talent that was now in WWE, how they were doing to see if there was anything you could learn or apply to your own career? Or was that not even the way you were thinking at the time?
no, absolutely. I mean, at this stage, I'm getting paid through October. It goes without saying that I'm thinking of, all right, what is a potential opportunity down the pike? I watched this match, this episode. I don't remember a lot of this, bits and pieces of it, all this, but I certainly wanted to see where they were going to go with it all. But seeing a guy like Jericho, we're similar height, similar build. Um, Seeing him have the success, not only was I happy for him and happy to see the continued transition, I guess you could say, of the product. Because you got to remember, let me go back to the set point. When I watched the WWF in the 80s, he was obviously all big guys. Hogan, Warrior. I mean, Savage was considered a small guy during those times. It just was monsters. Brett came in, me, Sean, a few others. You could just kind of see, we'll say the work rate became a little bit more important. When we got in the Attitude Era, for the most part, work rate, I don't want to say it was a penalty, but man, it was more shock TV and outlandish characters that took the forefront in so many ways. And we've talked about the WCW situation that, I think my in-ring ability and at the end of the day, I think whether it was Kevin Sullivan, Vince Russo, the committee, whatever, they said, we can count on Jeff. He's going to give us a good match. He can talk, he can work, he can kind of check those boxes. So now, there is no number two. There's only a number one. When I saw a guy like Chris having not just good success, but great success, it inspired me. It inspired me knowing, okay, this is the leader in the marketplace. This is kind of where things are going, as far as what's important for the promoter uh, in their assessment of talent. What's going to be a priority? And Chris, like I said, he wasn't just up there; he was at the very top of the card. So it was something that I was aligned with mentally. I'm like, okay, that's a good thing.
The Dudley Boys here are the ECW icons at this point, but they've certainly started to make a name for themselves amongst the top guys in the WWE. We mentioned they're going to be in some of the main events that are coming up. They're the tag team champions. Um, Instagram a wrestling historian has always got some good questions, and they say, let's fantasy book here. If Vince McMahon hadn't sent you home, how would you have liked your role in the invasion storyline to play out? Thanks in advance.
What's his
So,
name?
Instagram a wrestling historian?
If he's such a historian, then how does he have the facts wrong? Did Vince really send me home?
No, of course, he's talking about in storyline. I
I know,
hold the very fate of.
but literally, I will say this: I do believe there is a, Conrad. We chuckle, and I did HBQ radio, Conrad, Friday, and a guy in studio, a huge Conrad Thompson fan. That just that he listens to all your pods and this and that, and they listen to ours. He knew it dropped on Tuesday and this episode and that episode. but he was chuckling about, yeah, you were my guy from Memphis, but man, I hated you. All those, just the narrative. There's a lot of folks to this day thinks Vince fired me on TV, and that was real, like 100% real.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, it's the power of the business. It's the power of TV. It's the power of the narrative. I don't get too political right now, but there's that old saying, you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. Once it kind of starts going out, I've saw some comments as of late when I'll say some kind of debate that folks would say, yep, the people that bought into the narrative of, I'll just say kind of TNA LOL, that we've talked about. Once it kind of starts, there's some folks that maybe tap out, maybe get a job, maybe quit watching, get off social media, whatever it is. But their opinion's already made up of who Jeff is, what he's about, and if they miss 2 or 3 years or 4 or 5 years, 6, 7 years, they don't know a lot of ground in there. And that's just kind of the nature of the business. And here, as we see back on camera again, Vince and Tori Wilson. So this is either the 6th or 7th time, but no, back to the historian's question. He said, what would it have been? What's the exact question? What role would I have played?
What would you have liked to have done? We know that we're going to see The Undertaker working with DDP. We know we're going to see Booker T working with Stone Cold.
So the hindsight's 2020. I would have loved, just because I believe it was set up in a way that he fires me on national TV. Somehow, some way, Shane Stephanie rehire me. But basically, I'm on the return, and I'm going to be the, I don't say just mouthpiece, but I'm coming to get revenge. And I am a part of one of the faces of the heel WCW brand. I think that would have fit right into it. I mean, just in so many ways, but let me be my Southern accent. I'm the, antagonist to the New York brand, City Slick, WWF, and everything that went with it.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.